just a minute. It's absolutely clear. It's been crystal clear to me since May of 2020. I'll show you a little bit of that again. It could not be more obvious that of course it came from a lab.
This one caught my attention because it was called Fauci Lied, People Died. You ever heard that? So, are you guys feeling excited about anything? Life? Are you passing?
Mm-hmm.
So then that's good.
I just want it to be over.
You're what?
I want it to be over.
Isn't it over like for real next week?
Yeah, for like 2 weeks.
Are there finals?
I just have a whole bunch of papers to write that I've got
Right.
on.
That's how social work always is too. It's annoying. Did you want me to go over the instructions for this one again, or do you got this one down?
Yep.
You do. All right, I can do that. hbse. So yeah, here we're right where we were left off. So it's called.
Wait. I have another question before you start. On D2F, where is that something?
It should be in the documents area. Like you go into the first round of announcements. Let's see here. You go into here, and then wherever it says documents, I gotta go to their class though. So if you go into 311, hi, how are you? And then, content, not documents. So in content, it was like the main thing that's popped in. That syllabus. It's not as pretty because it has to convert it to a digital reader. But here's the final paper. It's the same. I only ever give you guys 3 or 4 major assignments.
Mine don't look like
What does it look like?
way less stuff.
Really? I can send it out again over announcements if that's helpful. So let's do course tools, announcements. Because do you have your 4 major assignments? It would be genogram, eco map, your presentation. So that's the key one, and then the final paper. So new announcement. And then that way, how do you spell syllabus? Anybody know? Do you ever let Google spell for you? Because I do. So it's just the hbse one. Go hbse. What questions do you have though? Like I usually just try to hit it head on. That way you don't have to get confused by a syllabus, but it's okay if you want to.
I don't have questions yet.
You're like, I gotta read it first, duh. I gotta read what's due before I can give you what's due. That's understandable. All right, here it is. I'll just pop hbse 2023, add, and then send it to you guys. Where is the field? You can tell how well D2L will be. There's syllabus. Sometimes it helps to just have like this description. That's what a lot of people were asking about. So, how do you copy things on these laptops? Just like that.
Control C.
That's probably what I'm missing. So yeah, just 4 major assignments. There are little like extra credit type of things, but the genogram, the attendance is a little weird thing. Eco map, pick a date is a little weird thing, and then final paper. So I can put the description in there as, that way you don't have to look in the syllabus. Did you want to do your presentation live present? You can do it during finals week if you want to present it next week. Do you want to do that? Okay. That way you can, like Tuesday or Thursday next week. That way you don't get dinged, because that is a big one, for sure.
Okay, cool.
Any topic that you are interested in or would like to present on? Like depression, food deserts.
I think mine was trauma and PTSD.
Okay, that's good. That's a good one. Ashford. Because then you guys get to do hbse part 2. Do you know who the teacher is for that one yet? How is that?
Interesting.
Are you getting through it?
Yeah.
That's good.
We just finished the presentation for that class.
Okay.
I'm almost caught up.
See, that's good. Well, we finish you guys in middle childhood here. So like where you learn about fairness and rules and establish friendships, learning about the culture. You have more interaction with your peers. So you're like hanging out. Growth development is slow and consistent. If you're 7 or 8, you would do a sit-down game. But so physical activity is, there's research showing is declining. Like people just sit around a lot more and look at devices. What do you guys think about
It's true.
that? Do you all try to get up and get active, or you like, no?
It depends.
Because you don't have to now. You're in college. It's not like, I guess we do for phys ed credits, don't we? So you have to take gym.
I think it's one physical.
It is
exercise.
one credit hour, so it's not like super special, but. That's fun. So there's also a lot on poverty. That's kind of why we were doing the stuff on food deserts. So those of you that presented, we are trying to get a lot more. How many of you grew up in a food desert from what you know? Maybe everybody. It is scary, just how it's getting worse and worse for a lot of people. So 2 things that come from it, there's cretinism, that's chronic disease characterized by physical deformity and dwarfism caused by a lack of iodine. That's why the US put it in their drinking water. And salt, you get like iodized salt, that's why they did that. Also rickets, it's permanent damage in the bones resulting in a flat chest, deformed pelvis, or crooked back caused by vitamin D deficiency. So we put vitamin D in all of our milk. Have you ever seen that in milk? It's just called vitamin D milk. So like, and they noticed that in New York City 100 years ago because they were always, the tall buildings put all the kids in the shade, so they never got vitamin D from the sun. As you know, you're supposed to go out and get vitamin D from the sun on your skin. That's where you get most of your vitamin D. Most of us don't get enough, especially in the wintertime, just because it's cold. And so another thing that comes up in cognitive development, Piaget is a theorist who calls it you're in the concrete operational stage. So like mental actions that are reversible are limited to real objects. Also can pass through the conservation task, which we were showing the videos of the kids that pour the water into the different sized cups. They can actually tell that even though the cup is longer, it's the same amount of water in that cup. But when they're younger, they are like, oh, that one is a longer cup, skinnier, but it's taller, so it's more. So like that's at age 5 and 6. You're able to coordinate more. You've got cognitive development. They've looked at emotional intelligence lately, so that's a big one. And then they have us doing a bud mod for you guys. That's not fun. Right. There's also, so this is another theory that talks about the ecological approach to things. So like looking at not just social and emotional, but like academic and different ways that we do learning. And you've got self-awareness, social awareness, and then on the larger theoretical side, classroom curriculum, school climate, like is it a safe place to learn? Is the air conditioning good? Like here, it's so hot, it's not a good place to pay attention. Air conditioning needs to be fixed. Family and community partnerships, so different things that we may partner up with. You've got communication in middle childhood, so like you've got meta-linguistic awareness, so the ability to go beyond the information. So you guys are at that where like we can tell you things and you can connect the dots. Like we can tell you A and C, and sometimes you figure out B in the middle. But like kids need to have it broken down better and younger and whatever else you break it down. Anybody here bilingual? Speak Spanish? I'm not either, but it says children in bilingual programs typically outperform their counterparts in all English programs on tests of academic achievement. Children learning to be bilingual outperform on IQ, Piagetian conservation tasks, the language use, and meta-linguistic awareness, and selective attention. So not as many distractions for them. Some of the things with psychological dimension, attitudes, emotions, and regulations. Our goal as social workers is to teach kids how to recognize your emotion, and sometimes you don't know what it is. You get angry and you feel that anger building up in you, and you just get super hot. Your body gets hot, you might blow up. But teaching how to express it in a different way, so it's just not always yelling or fighting, it's too hot. Understanding emotions in others, like you can see when other people are sad, you can see when other people are angry. Social role taking, so you can infer others' thoughts, feelings, and intentions, but still can't assume another viewpoint. So sometimes that has to wait till adulthood. But like you can hear what they're saying, even know what they're feeling, but it's really hard to see like both sides of an argument. Like, my thought is this. There's exposure to role taking opportunities that involve an exchange of differing perspectives that can help in development. Sometimes you get it in school. Did you all ever have a morality class growing up? Did they teach morality still in schools? Usually Catholic schools that teach it. So, okay. Interpersonal awareness. So like how the child conceives his or her own interpersonal relationships. So in early childhood, you'll have these friendship stages, like a physical playmate. In middle childhood, you've got cooperation, or I do something for you, you'll do something for me. In adolescence, you might have interdependence and intimate sharing, like you begin, like when did you all get your close group of girlfriends, if you ever had one, or like good friends that you talk to and share with? Or family even, yeah, like it's as you get into this age. So, and that's important. Some of the hazards, you could have self-concept defined by traits. You might be smart and shy, or see themselves as more unique. Also self-efficacy, so a belief in your own capabilities is associated with behavioral growth and outcomes. You've got the looking glass theory, so research that shows children's evaluations for themselves resemble the way other people perceive them. child behavior checklists assess like externalizing and internalizing problems. So like either acting out or they've got an interstate problem. Maybe they're doing bad in school and it's because they have a bad home life or like a not safe space to learn. The two most common problems of middle childhood are ADHD and depression. Like those are the frequent diagnoses. So almost 10% of kids get diagnosed with ADHD, mostly boys. You guys might have known some of them growing up. They got excessive motor activity, impulsiveness, inattention, and the consequences are like poor academics, interpersonal difficulties, low self-worth. They always say to use a combo of drugs and behavioral health, like to address it. Social dimension, your time with peers is way up, and then your parents is way down. So the peer group is groups of age mates that are durable and involve interactions based on established set of social relationships. Cooperative activities can decrease negative social behaviors that sometimes emerge in groups. So I like this quote. It says there's 3 types of friends. Those like food, without you can't live. Those like medicine, which you need occasionally. Those like an illness, which you never want. So it's talking about like negative friends that you could have, or like people that are toxic that you don't want in your life. And those start showing up in middle childhood, so you gotta be careful. And it is often from their family of origin, so they're bringing stuff, some negative emotions with them. Peer groups. It's crucial to a healthy development. Boys have larger social networks and relationships are less exclusive. Girls have more close friends and relational aggression. So friendship is a close, mutual, voluntary, dyadic, bilateral relationship, which is a lot of words. Popularity, being liked or accepted by one's peers. What do you guys think for friends? Is it birds of a feather flock together or opposites attract? You think? Okay. Which could be unique to each one, but just. So here's some of the peer stuff and development that come up. Poor peer relations are associated with discomfort, anxiety, and a general unwillingness to engage in the environment. Children master their aggressive impulsive with the context of peer relations. And then sexual socialization cannot take place in the absence of peer interaction, which is probably true. Like as you're growing up, you can't like be exposed and have your first kiss if everybody's online on the internet. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that's possible, but correct me if I'm wrong. I guess you could like kiss the screen. Like that would be strange. Though. What's that? What'd you say?
I said, no, nobody got time for that.
Right.
And that's dirty.
Right. Peer relations are related to role-taking, ability, empathy, and moral reasoning. Children who are rejected by their peers are at greater risk for delinquency, school dropout, and mental health problems. And friendships are critical because they provide opportunities for learning. Let me make sure. Learning social skills and a beginning sense of group belonging. So you start getting that as a kid. And then 3 parental discipline strategies. You've got power assertive, love withdrawal, and induction. This is what our kids are getting old enough we need to discipline. So power assertion strategies increase children's aggressive tendencies, like if you smack them. Love withdrawal is associated with excessive anxiety in children. Induction is an important parental strategy because it helps children develop internal moral standards. Effective parenting programs, they use concepts like reinforcement, punishment, extinction, and differential reinforcement of others' behaviors and stimulus control. I want to get a picture for, we're starting to have to discipline our kids because they're at that age. So some life changes, it'll show consequences and effects on children. So if there's hostilities between parents, so like if your parents fight all the time, you might see a kid that has sadness, anger, or loyalty conflicts. Distraught custodial parent might bring about anxiety, putting roles of parent or co-parent to custodian parent, loss of relationship. It could be self-blame or low self-esteem, parent dating, and remarriage. This shows competitive feelings with parents' new partner, fear of loss of parents' affection, curiosity for older children about parent sexuality. So if you've all seen or experienced a remarriage, sometimes it's hard to build a relationship with your parent. And then schools. So 5 standards that promote positive learning outcomes for students. We've got joint productive activity, language and literacy, challenging activities, and then barriers that low-income and minority students face in the system, low parental and teacher expectations for school performance, and then lack of culturally relevant materials. So those are where we're at. You guys will get introduced to this one. Hopefully Beyonce goes into this. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Does she start in adolescence when you guys are in HBSE too?
She started when you started, honestly.
The beginning,
Mm-hmm.
right at the beginning of the book, because it is supposed to be like split in half.
She started in the beginning, and then we went to adolescence, and now we're in older adults.
Okay, that's good. As long as you get to older adults, that's going to be the key. Because this one has early adolescence is puberty, 10 to 13. Middle adolescence is 14 to 16. Late adolescence is where you guys are. That's why I usually do the handoff here. Because it really is extending longer because of COVID. More people live at home longer till they're 25 or 29, if you've seen that. You'll have a growth spurt. Girls begin around age 10, and last 2 years, boys are at 12. So do you remember being taller than boys at 10, 11, and 12? You're like, nope. But the boys were shorter until they were 12. Puberty is maturation of physiological mechanisms, sex characteristics. So boys, that's production of sperm, hair growth, and pubic areas underneath arms, chest, and face, and your development of sex organs. Girls is production of eggs, and I think it's age 10 now, right? Aren't they saying because of chemicals in our food, everybody's going earlier? First period at 10, 11, or 12.
Mm-hmm.
No?
I will cry.
Really? I think there's girls that are having it that young.
No, some people do. I'm about to say,
My mom was
yeah, I'm about
And
to say,
getting pregnant
some
too.
people do start their period real early.
Right.
I think it probably is just your body.
Right, that's true, yeah. Maybe you were fed organic food, so you had
The body started getting there quicker.
Yeah, I think it's the RGBH hormone in the milk. It's called bovine growth hormone. When they put that into cows to get them fat quicker to make milk and hamburgers, if we eat it or drink it, we get growth hormone to mature faster too. So it's not great. It's better to eat organic. So girls have menarche, the cyclic shedding of uterine lining 2 weeks after ovulation. Boys have nocturnal emissions or facial hair that might go unnoticed. A secular trend is that the onset of puberty getting earlier over the past 100 years. It was 17 in 1840. Now, in 2023, it's 11.5 years old. And this is 10-year-old data. So this is a 10-year-old book. And then the hormones are both estrogen and testosterone produced about a year before the changes in the body start. Here's what it looks like. So both boys and girls produce testosterone and estrogen, but not much of the one. And at that age, boys take off and get crazy. So early and late mature, so this addresses it. It says, and you guys tell me this is true, boys that are early are more athletic, successful in peer relationships, and more confident. Early girls, though, sometimes have behavior and academic problems and body image dissatisfaction. Like I'm thinking the girl who has to wear a bra in the 5th grade, or a girl who like matures quickly young. They're the first ones to wear a bra compared to all their girlfriends.
Makes sense.
That's what research says, yeah. It is interesting though. It's like, dang. Brain development, so you still are having a developing brain until you're like 22 to 25. Emotions, judgment, and problem solving are still developing. So you like can get in trouble and make bad choices for consequences. Common health concern is your nutrition needs to increase. Not the amount of food, because if it's too much food or bad food, it's obesity. If it's proper nutrition, you'll develop well. Acne is affecting 80% of adolescents. I remember getting it and they gave me like a drug to get rid of all the acne and it sucked. Dysmenorrhea, cramping during menstruation. So some people have like really bad where you get sick, you gotta go. Leave school. And do you believe how much sleep you're supposed to get at that age? That's not That's a lot.
It is, but when we're younger, we do sleep a lot though.
Yeah, I know. I guess that's how you grow. So it makes sense. They're doing Piaget theory again. So in your final paper, you can use Piaget theory if you want. You don't have to. I just like ecological theories. That means it looks at like every perspective of life. How you grew up, where you grew up, your family background, your history, how your neighborhood was. So formal operational stage. So you have abstract thought. You can have thoughts about your thoughts. Possibilities, hypothesis testing, future thought. You can think about goals, like you guys decide to go to college. You're like, this should help me get a license or a job. Thinking about thoughts and expansion of thoughts. So by late adolescence, 60% use formal operations. So do you think it's really a universal stage of adolescence? If only 60% are using it. I feel like a lot of people don't think about this. Like, think about your future.
Till it's time.
Right, yeah. And then you got to get a job like yesterday. And that's why it might not be universal. And it's more because all of our safety needs aren't met in society. Like maybe we have a food desert, maybe you're not in a safe environment, maybe you have nutrition in the area that's not great. So it's hard to think about like, what am I going to do in my future? So I would say maybe if it was 67% using it, 2/3, that is a universal stage, but only 60% is like a D. So I would say no. Then you got community, maybe in the old days or whenever they came up with those thoughts, maybe that's what it was. When this dude came up with that theory, he was writing about like middle-class people that all had their needs met and want to go get a job somewhere and suffer from like poverty or food deserts or other things. Whereas now we're trying to look at the whole global population, not just his neighborhood that's in New York City that's all going to go get a good job and have a house and have a car and have all that stuff. I just put that together. But I'm thinking he wrote about a bunch of white dudes in New York that all were going to have like easy jobs that were and didn't have the
Kids that's forced to think about their future.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so they did experience formal operational stage and have abstract thought and could go into school and like philosophize all day and have enough food and have like the room was cool or heated and like they slept well at night and had a cute little dance to go to at the end of the weekend. Whereas, I don't know if it's because the population's increased so much. We had 2 billion probably when he wrote this theory. Early 1900s. We had 3 billion in 1960s and 70s, 4 billion when I was born in 1978, about 5 billion when my wife was born in 86, 6 billion in 1999, 7 billion in 2010, and now 8 billion in 2023. We just hit 8 billion people. Like,
No wonder why they raise everything.
the prices, because there's the same amount of food being grown and you're right. Yeah, that's why it's more expensive. They had to print more money, but now it costs more money to buy the same food. So communication, metaphors, satirical labels, writing more meaningfully. So you're learning how to write. As a therapist, you might have confidentiality issues. Like I'll have a teenager come in and sometimes the parents want to know some shit and I don't want to break confidentiality unless if they are a harm to self or harm to others. I'm like, you might want to ask them about that. And sometimes they get pissed and they won't come back to you.
That's funny, because they really do be expecting you to tell them.
And I'm sure Dr. Gunn has to deal with that all the time. Over here at our counseling program. Like, no, tell me why I pay my kids tuition, I demand to know her grades. And it's like, they can't tell them. I don't think
I'm about to say, they ask us if we want our parents to know.
Okay, that's why they
Not
do
a
that.
sign.
They tell us,
That's why.
like before we come,
Can you say no?
I said yeah.
You said yeah, if they're paying for it
Because I feel like-
sometimes.
I don't know, because I feel like if my mom see my grades now, she gonna get on me and that's gonna make me want to get better.
Right,
And plus,
yeah.
it's like, I don't know, it's like,
So that was just a year ago you had that experience then too, right? Okay. Dang. Because you were like graduating high school. Both of you? No. Okay. 1 year ago today. Was it in June or in May?
when they asked us that. When I came for,
Orientation.
yeah.
But I mean,
so-
when you graduated. So you
Oh, I
graduated in
graduated
June,
in June.
and you came here in August.
Mhm.
Hasn't
And we
time
came
flown?
early. We had to come early in August. I did not like that.
I know.
Like
They
we
just
had to
wanna
come
get
back
people
like
ready.
August 9th. I'm
Right.
like, dang.
They want to make you be serious about school. Like, I see both sides of it. So you might also have self-esteem issues in teenage years. Lowest point is in early adolescence. So when you're 14, 15, 16, you have your lowest self-esteem. Most emerge from adolescence with the same amount of self-esteem they had at the beginning. So like at 13, you might have it, it goes down and then back up. Mood swings, you have greater highs and lows than adults. Do you think that's true? When you're a teenager, you have greater highs and lows than adults do? Or have you seen some crazy adults, you're like, dang, I'm more adult.
I feel like it is. I feel like it depends. Cause like sometimes we are learning how to deal with it, and most adults already know how to deal with it, but some adults still need to learn how to deal with it.
Right, true. And some of us never learn that, and that's where it does say like emotional regulation is really important to learn sometime in life. And if we never learn it, we act like a child our entire life. Like, and that's more frequent than it used to be. Foster care. So low self-esteem is related to multiple placements and time in foster care. So they've done research on that. Like the longer you're in foster care, the lower your self-esteem could be.
That makes sense.
And then, so connectedness, adolescents respect, openness to others' views, like connectedness to parents, promotes individuation in identity development. Like you said, you were open to sharing your grades with your parents, so you could be held accountable, and do better, feel. Or I would like hide my crap when I got all my bad grades freshman year. It almost failed me out.
I was about to say it don't even matter because it's like if I did feel something, I'm gonna have to tell her. So it's like
I know at some point you got to
like
tell.
you know what, you could just go ahead and see how
It
long
just bought me a few more weeks of like drinking, partying, or whatever, so I didn't have to deal with it then. So I would like hide my report card. I think they mailed it to us.
Ooh, when I was younger, when I knew my grade dropped or something, I used to hide. I used to get to the mail before my mom.
Yes, yes, that's kind of what I did. Yes.
And
So,
hide all of ours, because if one of ours came, then she know all of us there, so I'm hiding all of them.
Yep, I know. Separateness and self-assertion. So separateness is the expression of the individual's distinct self from others. Self-assertion refers to adolescents' expression of their viewpoints and clear communication. Here it says Hispanic adults are more like interdependence than they are independence because of their family commitment. So they like everything is done in the family with Hispanics. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Hispanic communities, but like they live together for a long time too. Yeah. I lived down there for a long time and saw it. There's also egocentrism, so egocentric thought, preoccupation with thoughts, feelings, or behaviors, like self-consciousness. Erickson talks about sometimes you fight your parents like you have an imaginary audience, like you're so dramatic, you're like yelling at them and you think somebody's filming you. And it's just you and your parents, but you're like, sick you dad, and like, you know, all dramatic, like you're in acting. So adolescent mental health disorders. Internalizing problems, they will get depression. There is suicide as the third leading cause of death. I think it just went up to the second leading cause of death during COVID, which is sad. Average onset of depression is 13 and 15 years of age. Externalizing problems is more delinquency. So 25% referred for delinquency and conduct problems. That would have been me. Delinquency is like normative. It peaks at age 16. We used to call it and say we got a flat tire, and that's why we're to school. The secretary believed us over and over.
Flat, the car wouldn't start.
Right.
Jumping.
They believe all that crap. So it's normative, it peaks at 16, higher in boys and ethnic minorities. So research is showing younger delinquents are riskier. Like if you're stealing a car at 13 or 14, you get your first felony at 13 or 14, you might be more at risk to like get a adult felony than somebody who didn't steal a car at 13. When deviant behavior occurs at early ages, the problem is seen as conduct disorder. Family interventions and social skills training are most effective treatment. So they try to get the whole family involved because you're still a minor. So mom, dad, and everybody is involved at that point. If you can get them all involved. And then there's a few developmental tasks. So learning how to be autonomous, like on your own, autonomy development, like study on your own, live on your own, cook on your own. Resolve parent-adolescent conflict, and then establish parent-adolescent attachment. And then there is peer pressure that peaks in adolescence. Conformity can be positive and negative. So it could be like, we're going to go lift weights a whole bunch for the sport and do well in our sport. That's a good peer pressure. Or we're going to go smoke this blunt, go into school, and it'll be better. That's the negative peer pressure that can come. Do they let you get a medical card for weed in teenage years? That's what I was thinking. But I heard parents can sign off on it. I just don't know if parents can like sign off at a super young age. I guess if you're 18, they can sign off on it. That's what I found out from a PO yesterday. I was like,
Or I think that is doctor's,
like a script and your parents got to sign off. So both. And you can't be 18 in high school, so I guess it could happen. That would be kind of crazy because we just got locked up for weed. When I was in high school, we just get locked up. That's all they did. They were like, and it's changed a lot now. It's like you get a script and it's different than it used to be. With friendships, you got intimacy, trust, loyalty, and commitment. Intimacy in friendships refers to sharing of personal thoughts. Then you get pissed about somebody gossiping about you. Like you find out who you can trust. You tell them something that's very personal. And like, who can I trust with this information? You find that out in adulthood too. You're like, is that why they made confidential counselors? Because they won't tell anybody else and you can talk to somebody about it. Maybe. So help with identity, sexual, and emotional development. The peer groups are like cliques and crowds. You learn your social skills. It involves active group member participation at each step. Gangs are showing up still. Supposedly LA has been taken over by MS-13. It was all Crips and Bloods, and now it's majority. What's that?
I didn't even think that was still going on.
Like Tupac, and East Coast, West Coast, now MS-13.
Like they everywhere for real, but it's like I didn't think it was that big. Like,
Yeah, I know. And if you don't have like a cohesive family unit, it makes sense. You would go to a gang as you would have like a cohesive family unit there. Like that's your unit. But you gotta do some weird stuff to get initiated into it. Sometimes violence. So
We have to jump in and stuff.
yeah. So some risk factors are poverty and little attachment to people and social institutions. So like family, adolescents have a developmental need to associate with peer groups. That's what I'm saying. If you got no connection with your family whatsoever, you're going to strive to hang with the gang just like a pack. You want a pack. Most members are 14 to 18. They go as old as 30. Female gang involvement is reported by law enforcement agencies to be about 6 to 8%, so almost 1 out of every 11 females. Developmental mismatch. We're cruising towards the finish, but any questions at this point? Because this is kind of where I do the handoff for HBSE 2. Have you taken HBSE 2 yet? So she starts right here, an adolescent. Well, you said the first slide and then jump to.
Because I remember she made us go back to the concrete and the PHA.
Right, because that does go all the way through.
We went
Okay.
back to that. Spent like 3 days on that, and then we went to adolescence, and then to adult or something. I don't know what you call it. But then we went to the older. No, then we went to adult, and then went to older adult.
Okay. Okay. Well, I am happy to do this Tuesday or Thursday. You can come do your presentation. That way you would have everything in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, see, that's why finals week is good. It turns into a final presentation and final paper.
I'm struggling in English. I got this 8-page paper. I do not know how to do.
What do they want you to write about?
A social problem in the community. So my community, I was gonna do drugs, but it's the way she wants us to write. It's like a 3-part paper. The first one is the annotated biography. The second part, I don't even know what the second part is.
I know that annotated biography because my dissertation guy made me do it. So here's what you do. You pull up, you said drugs in the community?
Mm-hmm.
It is hard to do, but here's basically what you do. Say you search the modern research on this, and say you pick an article that looks good, like try not to get overwhelmed by the word. That's usually what I do, but I'll just pick something. This has a full text so you can download it, which is cool. This might be good, like protecting the human rights of people who use drugs, or well, it's mostly heroin nowadays. So what you do is you read this article. So you want to go to the full text, you want to read it, and then a lot of times what you're writing is like 2 sentences that describe it. Like overdose prevention programs are effective, and you would cite it. Excuse me. If you carry naloxone, you can save somebody's life. Cite the article.
Don't you have to cite it in the?
Annotated bib or in the paper.
You have to.
From what I remember, I had to go back and like, I think I still have my folder for annotated bibliographies. And I'm pretty sure, so I go in the Dropbox and like I search, how do you spell that? A-N-N-A-T. Here it is.
Yeah.
I have a whole folder of these. So this is how I wrote my dissertation. And you like, so I wrote it and he even made me annotate my annotated bib. So I did write a little bit more than 2 sentences, but I was like, in this article, briefly reviews the importance of empathy to refugees that are trying to begin their lives after challenges such as torture, resettlement, and xenophobia. A description of how torture can affect mental health of many modern day refugees is described. And then you put the citation at the top. Is that how you had to do it?
But
Right.
hers look There's been a lot going on.
But it sounds like you can write about social work stuff. Okay, yeah, you're doing the same thing, okay.
This is the first part, and then the second part is what is it? I forgot.
Maybe the analysis of those articles, which it looks like, is that her example?
Uh-huh.
So justice for migrant farm workers, the articles are showing that like those migrants are having, well, just like I'm writing about it.
Exploratory essay.
What is it called?
Exploratory essay. Right. Just right. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So you're writing an essay of like all of your articles smashed together now.
Darn near. And then the third part is a works cited page.
Okay, that should be. Because that one you can do, remember, if you go into here, are you doing MLA?
Yep.
So you go here, boom, there's MLA. So if you have your articles, you go into Google Scholar.
And there's
And then-
8 pages.
Yeah, but if you have 3 annotated bibs, that's already 3 articles. Then if you write the like shit you're going to put in your paper, it's 2 or 3 pages, and then does she count your works cited pages? Because that's an extra page. Then it only needs to be 7.
Normally, I would say yes, she does. But,
I know, because we don't in social work. It sounds like she does.
and it's for English though.
Right. But it looks like she's writing social worky stuff. That paper alone, is that her example paper? That's social worky stuff. And so, yeah, here's, have you already gotten all your articles? Like,
I don't
here's,
got nothing with a title.
so have you gone to scholar.google.com and you type in drugs in the community and you do more recent articles since 2019, so you don't get old shit. And then just, you can save these articles, like you can print them. There's one when they have full text over here on the right, and then you're just going to write a summary of those articles. That's what all that means. If that makes sense. Does any of that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So go to scholar.google.com, type in your drugs in the community, or use other search terms, and then get your stuff like this, like a community assessment to advance prediction of cancer, drug combination. That's stupid. That's not about drugs. It would be like, you could type opioids too, or like, you know.
I was gonna do something in
Fentanyl.
my city, so I was gonna do like drugs and trade.
Which, you have a fentanyl epidemic like we do, so you could just do like, I don't even know how to spell opioid, I'm gonna spell it wrong. I search that anyway. And then, yeah, since 2019, so you got the last 4 years, and then there's your full text article. A lot of times what you're pulling in your annotated bib is like the highlights, these highlights or the abstract. And you cite it.
She's stressing me out.
It sounds stressful, but once you learn how to do it, you'll write that way the rest of your life. And it's, even though I try not to write ever again in my entire life, you do have to write for graduate school. Mm-hmm.
The real question is, how much writing that we do? You tell me we really about to be doing this much writing once we get in our field.
You write every client that you see.
Right, but we're not about to be like, the
You
way we
wanna
doing our
know.
papers, like.
You want to know about this stuff because that's what you're writing about your clients.
Right.
So that's why we do have like the research to begin with. You want to use an effective intervention. I bet you I have my old treatment notes if this is helpful too. Let me search for it.
We got 2 weeks of a break until summertime.
Oh, are you taking summer too?
So I don't know yet, because Central keep messing up my financially. And
Don't they always?
Always, and it's pissing me off because who got that amount of money to be paying back? And then they
Nobody.
telling me I gotta pay a certain amount before summer classes start, and that's like $200. Who has that? I'm broke.
Yeah, I know. I always had to rely on student loans.
I'm
That's all.
like, personally, that's why I don't know if I want to come back.
And that's
You
what I
always gotta fight with them
For the money.
about something.
I said.
And then when you prove them wrong, they be like, oh, we'll fix it.
Just
Like, bro, I've been trying to tell you you messed up. And
But
you want
you
to
at
tell me
least
you
are
did it.
winning.
Like,
I went to
Yeah,
3
that is-
different people, and they told me 3 different things.
and it be like that every time. Cause like you got
Is
the
it like cash
that-
management?
It was
cash management and financial aid.
administration, financial aid, all of that.
I'm about to say, and the crazy thing is, when you go to financial aid, it's like every time it be different people. So they'll know what you talk about, and then some be like, oh, they don't know, or it just be, it's just
Right,
all be nonsense. And I be like, bro, this can't be real.
right.
Like, I gotta deal with
Second
this.
time they did this.
4
The
years.
first time I was trying to get back on the road in school, so I can come back this semester. And they told me, okay, I have to do a staff appeal. Okay, cool, I did that. So I'm waiting for them to contact me, and I'm wondering why my FAFSA's not going through. I called back, mind you, I've been calling them for like a week, and I finally got in contact with somebody. They tell me I have to do an academic appeal. I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me that in the beginning?
Right,
We leave to go back to school in a week, and I'm just not hearing about this.
right.
What in the world? And now this time I went to cash management and they told me that I owe like $5,000. I'm like, how? And why am I
No.
just now hearing about this? And then before that, they told me I owe $3,000. I went down there and asked, what is this? Why do I have a hold on my account for $3,000? She was like, I don't know. And took it off. I'm like, what do you mean? $3,000, you don't know where it came from.
And it's like,
So she could take it off that
I
easy.
feel like, that's what I'm saying. I feel like they really just be playing with us to get more money. And it's like,
You gotta stay on top of it.
Because
My
every
wife
time you
registered.
look at it, because I'm about to say, because every time you look at it, it be like, bro, what is this for? Like, it be unnecessary charges that you didn't even do too. Like, what are you talking about? I don't even know who did that. That was not me. Like,
Right.
y'all adding stuff that never happened.
It is frustrating. I'm glad you guys are staying on top of it and know that we will.
But it's annoying because why was you playing with me like that? Why was you trying to take my money like that? Like, man, you already got enough. And you know,
My wife has had to fight them every semester.
like, y'all don't do nothing for us at all with that money.
Right. Yeah, my wife has had to fight them, and she only has 30 hours left to finish, and it's been a struggle.
Trying to get in here, and then they trying to make people come with that Fantasia stuff. Like, no, don't come here, y'all. They
What
is
is
mad.
the Fantasia stuff?
She coming in fall. She coming to school here in fall.
What is that? Who
2023.
is that?
I bet.
A singer.
Fantasia.
Yeah, she's a singer.
But isn't that also a Disney movie?
No,
Yeah, it is.
it is.
Yeah. It is.
I'm dead. But like,
So what does she sing?
Here, I'll put this on.
so y'all know what you. I only know one song, and all I know is they better not get her for homecoming because I'm really gonna get mad.
Okay, you might want to be in their feelings on.
That's hilarious.
Everything I'm gonna get so mad. Oh, it is a Disney movie.
Yeah, it's a Disney movie, like when I was growing up. Look, that's mostly what comes up.
Oh, there she is.
Is that her name?
Yep.
Is she
I don't
married?
think. I don't think that's
Is
her
that what
name,
you're
though.
playing?
Fantasia, no, it's not her name. I don't think so. She has a very nice voice.
Yeah, she do, but it's like, come on now. sis. It's the only song I know about her.
Is she local?
Local. I mean, everybody's heard of her.
Yeah, I'm about to say she's pretty famous. That's what I'm saying. Like, what are you coming back to school for? You got
Like,
all
it's-
that money and you just like they just be
Doing
bored.
stuff. She a
Is she bored?
model too.
Is she dark skinned? It looks like
Uh-huh.
she's.
Yeah.
First, she had
And then she
short
put on
hair,
makeup
later
and
on.
things or something?
Mhm.
Okay.
She just, I feel like she just bored. Cause what are you coming back to school for?
Like, honestly.
Like you just wasting your money. Like, be so for real.
So how old is she? She looks like.
Oh God, like so you could be giving us that money.
Okay, pay
Like,
for my tuition.
Right.
What are you here for?
Like, and I know she's not even about to be on campus. Cause if I run into her on campus, I'm asking her to pay for my. I'm like,
We can be.
you
good.
here? So that means you got money to spare and you bored. Like, let me know if you need some somewhere to
What
put
is
your
major?
money.
Let me know. What is your major?
You know, for real, like, what you about to do?
Possibly need to be at Central State in Wilberforce, middle of nowhere, Ohio.
So how long has she been around for? Since 2013?
Nah, I feel like she been out. Yeah,
No,
Like
what, so
before
she is older. She's
yeah.
like,
She gotta be like 30, in her 30s or 40s.
Like 35.
uh,
I'll give her.
she does look a little older too.
I'm about to say our parents been listening to them before we even born. Listen to her before we was born.
Oh, really? So it's almost bringing back like your parents' interest in
Mhm.
the school. I see.
Like the 90s, maybe.
But I just really don't understand why she come to school though. Like
That
she
is really.
she got good money.
Maybe they promoted her by paying her.
Probably, but it's like, dude, nobody want to come here. We in the
She's
middle
in Greek life too.
nowhere.
She is.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to know what she coming back to school for.
Well, let me say this: we will get you guys through it. I promise you. We'll fight for you. We will fight you through it, and we will Like, I've had to keep.
I'm
my
tired of
wife
fighting
on-
with
Fight
social
them
media.
to tell them to take that money off.
So how much is it now?
$5,673.
You wanna go over there right now? We can.
Cause I talked to Ms. Morton and she said.
I love Miss Morton. She probably the only one I actually like.
I swear she was only.
Because she's the only one who actually know what you're talking about and then get it fixed right away.
So she's trying to fix it?
Yeah, she said come back on the 3rd and then we'll see. And then she said
That's a
that,
Wednesday.
all my, whatever I owe for this semester will be wiped off, but she had to redo my Parent Plus loan. And then in the beginning, next to me, somebody took off my Pell Grant, and then I went to her, she said, no, your Pell Grant is still here. I'm like, okay.
I'm about to say they messed up so bad that they had to send my mama a check.
How
I said, the check that my mom got was like 3,000 something. I
Holy
said,
shit.
why was like,
That's a lot of money.
that's how, yes, and then, but the crazy is, and then they kept spelling my mama's last name wrong, so I had to keep going back to cash and
To
everything.
cash it?
Yes. Then it's about, they still wouldn't let her, but her last name is not McCoy, it's McCory, so of course they're not gonna let her get the money because it's not her last
So even
name.
if you snap a picture of it, they're that.
Yeah, like 'cause she already tried putting it in her bank account, but it's like her last name was spelled so wrong. Like, 'cause they put McCoy and it's McCory. Like, I feel like if they probably would have put an R in there or something, at least one of the R's, it probably would have went through. But like, they didn't even put none of the R's or nothing. So it's
And then I went down there, cause at first I went down there.
It's just straight incompetence.
But it's like, why would you mess up that bad that you send my mama a check of $3,000 something dollars? That's why I say like y'all, they money hungry. But it's like for what? What are y'all doing with that money?
They talking about making a new recreation center. What do we need a recreation center?
We need new places to live.
Right, yeah.
We need a building that don't
Right.
got mice and fucking freaking.
I have heard that. That's
I'm about to say somebody was just complaining about that on Tuesday.
Well, so on the 3rd, we can go over too. So you find out what's going on. I'll go over with you. I don't mind. I just like
They
to
said
be-
half of the school ain't getting enrollment clear till June. So that means nobody can pick their rooms till June because all the payment plans and stuff don't open until June.
I'm about to say when I was trying to get enrollment clearance, they talk about they couldn't find my FAFSA.
Mhm.
That is literally what they told me.
They told me that too.
They talk about we don't see your FAFSA.
It's like, did you do it? I said,
I put it
yes.
up on my
Share and
phone.
make sure.
I put it up on my phone. I'm like, you see it say complete, and I did it in October too. So it's like, what are y'all doing? Like, where is it? Let me
I
know.
do my
Right.
plan. I do this year and next year, same time. So I don't even gotta worry.
Yes, I'm about to say because my sisters be telling me to do. My sisters be telling me when to do it because they be knowing. But it's like, come on now. Like my FAFSA just up and disappeared. Like, be something for real. It's just horrible.
What is it called when we give like, sign you guys into a class that you need a prereq for? Is it called something?
One more time?
What is it called if we sign you into a prerequisite? Like they don't let you take hbse 1, 2, and 3. Like request form, maybe, that's all?
I don't know.
She just forwarded it to me, I guess they're saying.
I just wanna go home and work.
Yeah, so that was also my idea, to finish you guys up, any questions you have, and let you go. To listen to Fantasia.
Like this.
But Grammarly's premium confident tone suggestion ensure that I come across as confident, capable, and sure. It helps me to be.
Parents like her? It does look like
I'm
the
about to say that was our parents, you know. They representing her, and she was one of the Day-Go singers from back in the day.
She was on what?
American Idol.
When did that start?
That's cool.
So like,
I have no idea.
so she was a singer,
So-
then she went to
so-
American Idol,
Uh-huh.
then she became famous. In like 2015.
before that.
Nah, she was famous a long time before that.
Okay,
I would say like, cause I was young.
so she went to American
I was like
Idol.
2000 and something, if I'm mistaken. There you go, right there.
Aha. 2009.
That was too.
But she was famous before that too. She just became really famous.
I think she was like a YouTube
Okay.
person that was a more famous YouTube person, and then I think she went to American Idol and won, and then after that, she took up.
Season 3.
I ain't gonna fake. I don't even know that much about her.
Right. There you go. There's your.
Lord mercy.
Will make tuition go up.
Man,
I swear.
I was thinking that like they about
I
to do
know.
something. They about to do something crazy. Like
I hope.
something
not.
just ain't right. Like out of all HBCUs, you want to come to this. And
That is pretty random. Is she from around here or something? That's why I'm saying. Like, is she,
Hey, here.
the middle of nowhere. She is not from in the middle of nowhere.
yeah.
What's on your shirt, James? North Carolina.
Why she ain't go to A&T?
Okay. We don't want you.
Where is she from?
North Carolina.
There's a lot of HBCUs in North
A
Carolina.
lot. Why did she come here? This is
That's what I'm saying. I swear to God, I'm like something is gonna happen and we all gonna be salty about it. I just feel it. I don't know why, but I just feel it. And this man, I feel like this. I don't know, as a freshman, this play with that fight that you gay like that, just do it for me. And it's like, I really don't know if I want to come back. And it's like, but I didn't already did everything to come back. But it's like, I still change my mind.
So they won't let